Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Minahan. This is Talk Cosmos. And today is the very end of October. Halloween is upon us, the 26th of October. We have the whole month looking ahead, and it's a deep one. It's going into Scorpio. There's lots of action that we'll talk about right away because this is Kaleidoscope Visions. And I will say that Amanda will not be joining us, although you might hear about her. She's always here, but it just happened to be that she's not well today, unfortunately. So send your blessings and your light to her. I know she'll love it. And we will begin because now we're ready for Kaleidoscope Visions.
Understanding the cosmic energies influencing our consciousness by the 4 major moon phases for the month, this is your Kaleidoscope Visions panel.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
And I'm John Chinworth, a Seattle astrologer with more than 25 years experience. I use a blend of evolutionary, traditional, and archetypal techniques and constantly attend workshops and lectures to further hone my skills. I hold an MFA in poetics, an MA in teaching, and an astrological diploma. I've lectured at NORWAC and served on the WSAA board. I have worked in general and special education classrooms, both as a teacher and mentor. I also enjoy reading, penning poems, riding a bike, and going on road trips around the great state of Washington.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says, you are the entire ocean in a drop.
Well, let's splash around a bit here, John. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm very thankful to be with you, believe me.
Thank you, same.
Yeah, let's see what...
We're drowning in the rain here where we were. I guess it's coming down again, so...
Well, it was a delightful day, and right now it is cloudy, but it's still good weather. We don't quite have that humidity that we just endured. So for us, it's almost like a spring or summer. This month has a couple of rotating patterns, and one of them is the fingers of fate. And the yod situation, not situation. Well, it is a situation. It's a pattern, but it is where we need to adjust so much because what we are in one point, it needs to coordinate somehow with this other energy. We'll talk more about that. But here we have our focus for this panel are the moon phases, and there are 8. There's 8 primary ones. However, for lack of time and just for emphasis, the 4 major ones work beautifully. Any comments about the new moon, first quarter, full moon, and the third quarter?
I like to think about them as the 4 phases, also like with seasons or the parts of a day. So the new moon, well, that's like midnight or winter, and the first quarter is like spring or dawn, and the full moon's summer or high noon, and the third quarter is like fall or autumn. Or
John,
sunset.
Yes, thank you for that, because really the phases are not limited at all to the moon.
Yeah, you can relate it to almost anything.
And largely we do that to the planets because we have a synodic, for instance, in December 21st, 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn joined together for their 200 shift into air as far as 20-year cycles. We will show where we have, or no, maybe that'll be, okay, but yes, Saturn and, because I'm working with this month and next month, but anyway, they're trining. Now they're going from their conjunction. They went to the square, which was back in 2000, uh, 12 to 15, and now they're having a trine coming up. So it's, yes, the phases work with all of them. The dates will be the 21st for the new moon, and it's, you know what? I didn't change these. It's not 29 degrees. I thought it's 28 degrees.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, everything is 28 degrees now. What did I did all this work?
That's all right.
Well, yeah, but it's 28 degrees. And then, in fact, yes, and then it goes to the fixed signs, which will be 6 degrees Aquarius,
Right.
13 degrees Taurus. The full moon will be on the 6th of November, and then it ends with the third quarter, which will be 20 degrees Leo on November 12th. But we'll go through these each one as we continue. The highlights this month, again, are this ongoing yod, this finger pattern. It's a push-pull. Last month, we had a kite pattern. Do you remember where it was all this opportunity with Libra? Libra kept shifting with that mini, with the grand trine.
The yod is that mix of two modalities that don't go together and two elements that don't go together. So planets, in whatever signs they're in, they're like by element and by mode, they're like, I don't know how to talk to you. So they have to do a lot of extra work to get things done. And it's more of a modern aspect, because in ancient astrology, they didn't even use it. It kind of came about, I think it probably came out in like the 1960s or so.
Because it is that the blind spots. Yes. For instance, if you look on the chart, you have Aries and or you have Aries, and then you have Virgo and Scorpio, and they're supposed to be blind spots. But that's just the point, is that we have, like in vibrational astrology, so many vibrations. This is simply one. This would be the 7th vibration, I believe. But it is very internal, and it is an adjustment, and it's 150 degrees. So yes, in this pattern, folks, what I've done, instead of repeating it throughout the whole file, just refer back, and I make a quick little quip about what it is, because otherwise we're always clicking through so many different patterns. Well, the other themes that we have today, let's see if I can go back to one slide. Yeah, Mercury is retrograde later at the end of the month, so that of the period that is, and it goes starting on the 21st, and it's pre-shadow retrogrades while it's in Sagittarius, and then of course it'll go into Scorpio, meaning that what we're talking, what we're thinking, how we're acting, and we're working with all the retrograde planets. When I say all, it's a season where the outer planets, except for Jupiter, which will be later, and Pluto went direct. But we have Uranus, Pluto, and I'll show you that list in the next slide.
And these outer planets, when they go retrograde, it's like something like 5 or 5.5 months each time. So it's a large part of a year that they are actually retrograde.
Well, they are, and it's just started. And so some of them end in a bit, like Jupiter's going to begin, but it's powerful when they all tag in together. We're looking in that archetype backwards, like Saturn. And we're in a new sign to begin with. Right. I mean, Pisces, which we were in instead of Aries. So this is really a reset.
Reset, and also I think it's also calling for a lot of introspection, asking, like, where are you going, where have you been, what are you doing? Slow down a little bit and just take a look at what is happening. It couldn't be louder, I don't think.
And that is true. Rick Levino says it's really when it's close, because of the retrograde. They are close to Earth, so their voices are really loud. And it's asking us, often, what can you let go of that's cluttering up the way? And what did you leave behind that you need to retrieve and work on to go forward?
What paths have you not looked at to go forward on? Right? Look at the map again.
Yeah. So let's see if I can go back just a little bit. We have here, we have about the yod, but also there we have the new moon and the full moon this month. Their dispositor is Venus. It's in Libra, in her own sign, domicile, in her own sign. That to me seems like she looks at balancing extremes. And
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it seems we're chock full of extremes. It's really potent. It's quite a task, but yet understanding polarities looks at all those depths within us that maybe we overlooked. There could be a shadow side that I've been thinking strongly about that, trying to take accountability, not to be.
Somebody told me once about when you have two extremes, turn them into yarn or threads, and one's like a bright orange and another one is the complement purple or blue, and you're weaving those together and seeing how they are together. So you're like, how can these disparate things be woven together into one new beautiful thing? And I think that might be kind of the energy today.
Beautiful.
Let's see if that pans out.
Okay. Well, we have here just a little graphic of Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto there, with Mercury, the Sun, and the Moon that are right here trying to work together, because we have in the beginning of this first yod, we have the new moon, Sun, and which is always the Sun and the Moon, but I believe Mercury is with it. So it is this, just as you were saying, the energies where we're balancing our relationships in every such way, what we consider beautiful to our soul. But in the meanwhile, there's sudden changes that we have to adjust to. We can't stay in the shock mode. We gotta feel, we gotta act. And it's processing the ideal, or else we escape. I know I use music a lot. And music, I heard just yesterday, where was it? Synthesizes right and left brain. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Good.
That's why people can go into a meditative state when they listen to music.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's also it's all these musicians playing different instruments coming together, making a unique sound.
My favorite sound is the orchestra tuning itself, because I played violin. And just it was like,
they're just getting ready, and they get that one.
I love it.
Then they all tune in. It's really beautiful.
Ta-da! Yes.
Right.
So out of bound, we have the sun. The sun's path chugs along. It's just at 23 degrees, 26 minutes, or latitude, north and south, is the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, above and below the equator. Yet the others can orbit out above. And Hygeia has been all summer. I haven't looked to see how long. So that's really looking at what is healthy, what is pure versus what is toxic. And
if a planet out of bounds is kind of saying, look at me, my needs are urgent right now, take care of this. So Hygeia as health and cleaning up toxicity, that's really interesting right now.
Yeah, if they burn the candle like I did last night, I think to myself, I got to get some that rest. But I hope like most people.
I have a candle burning too.
I almost lit one today. So Vesta will be at the very end, third quarter, and that's our hearth. When she comes up, it's more abstract, but it is our hearth. In ancient times, they would put what on their altar of their hearth with the fireplace. It is the flame, the eternal flame, to keep going. What is it that they want to protect? And Pluto is in its 10-year off and on, but it adds the intensity.
Sure. New moon.
Yes, here we are. 28, and this is the correct degrees, 28-21 Libra. It's on the 21st in the morning, Eastern time. Daylight time will end next week, but right now it's still at 8:25 a.m. with Venus as the dispositor. So the new moon itself has quite a few action aspects. They're not flowing. It wants to get moving, and it is a cardinal sign to begin with.
Yeah, I love the stripe pattern here. The action blended with those inconjuncts, outward action at the same time you're doing inward work.
Yes.
And one after, maybe one after the other, because like in this ray pattern, like this repeating, just do both. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, right?
Yeah,
Or
these
the outside action will help the internal action, and the internal action you're doing with yourself, of course, will help you take action in the world.
That is the Hermetic code. Yes, indeed. And especially since as of this day, we're walking the retrograde path. So Mercury, which at this point is conjunct Mars, is a very strong to not necessarily in this sun moon pattern, but still you're like you say, that internal work, whatever is aspecting that sun Mercury at 20 degrees Scorpio is, and that's only, let me think, today, that was last week. Thank you. Today is the 26th. So we're in that process. We've been working with this theme.
Yeah. When I see Mars and Mercury together, that makes me think of a sharp tongue. So look out.
It can be because it uncovers things and or hidden things. And then too, there's an emotionality with Scorpio. If you don't rise to your occasion, sometimes you do. In fact, I'm reading Meaning of Viktor Frankl's Meaning of Life, and he's relating that even the best side of a prisoner can lash out, not against, but in defense. And that can get them in trouble if they don't realize things. So going on to this, it's a potent book. I've been wanting to read it. We have these ongoing yods, but the sun and moon won't go on. But the one with Hygeia will.
Right.
And
I'm stunned by the symmetrics of these two formations together. It's really quite beautiful, actually.
Well,
yeah.
Since we're in the midst.
So Hygeia at the point of one and the moon at the point of the other. Those are the planets of doing
the moon did leave. So actually that one is past. This is the emphasis that helped us get to where we are. But this Hygeia one is staying. Right now it's with Juno. It was with Juno. So with that mix of what our identity was, it's also with our relationships. You can see in the past, relationships may have come to the forefront, at least politically, who you're with, who you're not, changing things. We'll move on. There is a Thor's hammer. Now, this is relatively new for this particular panel, but that it also has a focal point. But here it's an action-oriented, unified point of thrusting ahead, a focused intention, moving dynamic, action, and change aspect. And it happens to be with that Mars and Mercury. So there were marches, whichever side you're on, there's so much happening in the news as far as verbal exchanges.
People are wanting just cut to the truth and just tell us what's happening, and with Mars, Mercury together, this is a time to do that. And with health there, Hygeia, and it looks like I think that's Ceres, correct?
Yes.
These goddesses are so active right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nurturing and health, and the environment comes into play with Ceres, I think, and also losses. She's always the goddess of loss.
Yeah. And home, because it's the health of the home. Like, what is my home? And what is home in my heart? And the whole support of it, and people driven to support it and activate it. So strong.
And
we also have
home and expanding that home, not just your own home, but your community, your state, and your country, and your world.
It is. Yes. Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a couple of strong T-squares, which are again action driven. This is not with the sun and the moon, with Jupiter, our philosophies, trying to heal things that are who's included, who's excluded. That's a huge theme these days. And change.
Almost grand square.
Almost, but not quite. I really looked at that. It's not. It's these two T-squares, one with our sun and our moon, our identity and our heart, and the other with our philosophies. Goodness. And change and inclusion. And This one, oh, did I go backwards? I went backwards. What did I do? Let's
You're
go
there.
back. Did I go back? Okay, no, I went backwards. Here we go. Nope. Point of Thales. Oh, yeah, same. Oh, man. Wake up. Literally.
There's so much
at
happening.
The seed, yeah. Still at the seed point. Thank you. Maybe that's how we've been feeling. Like, where are we? Like, they keep dominoes. Is my link going to go to the left line or the right line? I mean, well, that's not political. So we have a grand emotional trine with that. So Jupiter that's in the square with the sun and the moon, and so our philosophies, although we're struggling to go and make actions, are actually in harmony. Gesundheit. I have a friend here, my husband, who's having a seasonal attack.
That's right.
He's emphasizing these points. Yes, yes, yes.
I get that.
We're in an emotional, deep trine. But also that thinking, speaking is the point of mitigation between, are we going ahead? Are we going back? Because it's in that point of Thales, just to be about the pattern.
I think it's interesting that these two configurations, the grand trine, that's the blue, are connected to Mars Mercury, but Mars Mercury are the focal point of that point of Thales on the nodes. So I think in these two configurations joined together, Mars Mercury are the main players. And again, we get into that right action, right tongue, saying the right things, and listening a little bit. And all this will help. The connection to the nodes is getting on that dharmic karmic path where you should be on. It's like choosing the right road.
Yes, we're in the midst of it. Well, very soon, as of 3 days from now, it will be the first quarter, that crisis action, when the light, which is now, is still a good time for intentions. You can make invocations with that light on as a crescent moon, and it will be increasing to a quarter moon in 3 days. So now's excellent time. And that's on the 29th of October, in just after, well, I think it's do I have the time right? At any rate, let's move on. This is when it's squared. Sun and moon is squared.
Mm-hmm. And the moon is with Pallas, which I really like. Have a plan, have a strategy.
Of course.
She's a great
And we're looking at both Uranus and Saturn that are retrograde. And there again, there's this finger of fate that is now still with Hygeia. So we're still, but we're looking now at a strategy, as you beautifully put. And we're still with this Thor's hammer, and it's still with our relationships, our Juno. You know, who are we aligning with? Because as things change, our values change. It was Libra. Now it's in Scorpio.
Juno also represents loyalty and fidelity. So being devoted to what who you should be devoted to, and doing the right things in that regard. She's a very strong goddess with very strong rules, I think.
It is true. She is
She is marriage, after all.
Yeah. It's what we are in the month of Scorpio. The sun is now in its deep, committed alliances, marriages, that we exchange resources in our thriving to survive. So if something isn't thriving, we're going to look at it and go, purge. We got it. Sorry. Thank you very much. Or maybe not thank you. Just go do it in its endings. On to the new beginning. Yes.
I'm getting a big letter H in the middle.
Well, I see that H. I like it. Or else it's
a new
Pisces.
configuration.
Yeah. So we have a T square still with our Jupiter. That Jupiter right now, Jupiter's looking at those values. And I believe it's right in relationship with the idea of what we're talking about, our commitments. Like, what's our values? is
Right.
what I need to produce in my resources, or what I want from my resources. How do I attach the meaning of value to that and purpose? Is that
And with Jupiter being in Cancer, coming from a place of nurturance and caring. Jupiter, remember, is exalted there and loves being in Cancer. So this is a very beneficial place for Jupiter to do good things.
yeah?
Even though it's a
Will
hard T-square to Venus, Eris, Chiron. Even
yeah,
so,
can
good
I
place to be.
Indeed, it is. It is, because squares are always action points. They really they need, now that action might be just for their own interest, going forward so much that they don't look at the fence that they're knocking down, or someone that they're bumping through to get what they need ahead, like a horse going to the water. So it can be like that, but it's not intentional necessarily. It's just one of the byproducts. And then, of course, it could be upsetting people. But you're right. It's in defense, in protection of what their home, their food, their family, all of this. Yeah. So I think the last one here is this, again, a very powerful themes, where we have a water trine once again that's absolutely getting so close between our thinking, our speech, our ideas. And now it's with the structure of our life, our ideals. Everything is mixed in there together, actually. There's really little, the pot is just burbling of change and today.
An interesting take on these configurations. So you have the water trine. Those are the emotions just flowing freely, right? And that feels kind of good. But look out, you have that Mars, Mercury. I'm just going to say whatever I want. And Uranus saying, I'm going to say this now. So be careful.
Well, things that have
Right?
to be said, yes, because now Mercury
Right.
has
It's
the
time to say things
differences.
that have to be said. Yeah. And let those words flow, perhaps. But remember that Uranus is a sudden planet. So
Oh, it is, meaning that what happens today, do begin to realize it's meant there for your attention. Importantly, Mercury, as of I think the 29th or perhaps the day before, transing into Sagittarius. I don't know if you mentioned that, but now we have so its conjunction, which is a little wider with Mars. It's actually in two, like Mars is in its own emotional flow of these, this big swirl of philosophy and boundaries that are changing, and our visions, and what we're speaking about is really with what is happening at the moment, and the change that we see, that we feel needs to happen or is happening. It's almost like a reporting it. Oh my goodness. Well, we're heading there closely, and we are also heading to a break. We'll be right back. Okay, John? I'm with John Chinworth. This is Kaleidoscope Visions. We'll be right back when we look at the Libra lunar cycles, and we'll look at the full moon. Okay, bye. Thank you.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the yin period of Scorpio, traditionally ruled by Mars, now ruled by Pluto. By departing a cycle based on comparison between extreme energies finding balance, Scorpio commits a relationship to exchange resources, experiencing power and powerlessness for the purpose of soul growth transformation. As a fixed water sign that is extreme, intense, and secretively deep, Scorpio's passionate nature questions the psychology and mystery concerning life and death.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs. Talk Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga, we cover the world of animals. This week, October 26th, it's an encore presentation. Tune in to hear our last healing show with Dr. Nels and Linda Rasmussen. Together, they helped callers and their animal friends with emotional, behavioral, and physical issues, and you can receive a surrogate healing just by listening and following along with Linda's instructions. Hope you can join us, Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
You found us. Maybe you've been guided to listen. Alternative Talk 1150.
I feel like that's the universe speaking. Am I listening? Especially as I was reflecting, you say such wonderful things. And am I listening? Well, John Chimworth is skypathastro.com. And his email is archerstars@gmail.com. And John, I know that this weekend you had a poetry seminar, and I want to bring attention to it because astrology, that's all I do. No, astrology relates to every single thing in the world. And therefore, stepping out and doing things, whether I volunteer at the library or you're at a conference, has magnitude. And it feeds into life. You meet other people. It's the real world. So how was this?
Well,
poetic.
I ended up not going because I had to get my allergy shot. So I raced across town and then they were closed. So nothing happened yesterday. But I've been in that workshop before and they're very, very good.
Excellent.
It's put on by Jeffrey Nutter, a New York poet, and he's expanded it to poets from all over the world join, and it's very exciting. So,
and it's live. It's not on.
Yeah, he gives things to do and little like prompts, and they're really complex. They're very fun.
That's so much. You know, that must be part of this trine between Jupiter and Saturn, that we are now having opportunities where people are setting things up, because in COVID, which was just before that COVID or during the COVID season, you know, the blinders were on. Oh my goodness, it wasn't that world. I'm very glad to hear that. For Talk Cosmos, these have happened, but they're very relevant. There was one with Planet Buzz that we did about the eclipse season, if you're interested with that, and the solar eclipse, but also with I thought I changed these, some of them. And anyway, the equinox, because the equinox for this particular slide or program with New Vibrations is about the entire season going up to Christmas. We have just begun. We have months yet ahead. They're powerful messages, you could say. And also, we're in months of this year and next year, teeter-tottering between 29 degrees and 0 degrees, which is the ending of one archetype and the beginning of new ones. So that was quite interesting. And next week, there's a special that I have, again with Jen Sachs, about the Pluto mythos. It'll be where we're talking about this big internal changes happening. Let's see what's on path for this month, the full moon. In Taurus, remember we had a new moon in Libra, but that's a cardinal sign. So immediately, folks, the moon phases shifted because it's so late, 28 degrees of the new moon. They all shift to the next modality, which are fixed. So we're talking with fixed energies, and this is in Taurus because essentially the sun is in Scorpio. So of course it would be in Taurus. That'll be on November.
It'll be in this phase that Mercury will actually go retrograde too, which adds to a slowing down or a thickening, if you will, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And solidifying, maybe.
It won't be quite. It retrogrades between the full moon and the third quarter. quarter. It'll be on the 9th. And so it's really slowing down. You're right. It's at 5 degrees here, Sagittarius, and it retrogrades at 6 degrees, which is interesting because that is a Thales point to our nodes for the United States. You know, our nodes are 6 degrees Aquarius, Leo. And so to have 6 degrees in Sag, boy, people are going to be really, we're all going to, it's necessary to speak our values and to speak our tongue, to speak. It's necessary. Sagittarius has to voice its thoughts.
I think with speaking comes listening. I just want to throw that out there.
It was like what we started off with. I'm going to pause.
Try that, people.
And me, yeah. So we have this yod. We're always starting now with the strongest, most potent energies for it. But this time, this yod is with Venus, with the ruler. So the ruler itself is saying, what extremes are we talking about that are happening to us? Like, you need to really refocus. This is critical, and reestablish those values that you're thinking of so dearly in your heart. What is important? How are you going to heal? What's included in your life?
Well, I think it's interesting that the yod pattern is Venus at the point, and the two at the other end are Uranus in Gemini. So many ideas so fast. And the other end, you have Neptune, 29 degrees Pisces. That's like the final degree in Pisces, critical, like all this getting in touch with, like, I don't know, spiritual belief or the right path to be on. And
the end of the zodiac. Yes.
Very end of the zodiac,
And the whole kit and caboodle all thrown in there together. And those ideas, trying to ponder them all out, kind of, they're having a heyday. But that our value system is going like, would you slow down? I'm seeing the whole, there isn't one smorgasbord. The whole house is a smorgasbord. Like, where do I even begin?
It's like thinking and feeling all blended up into one big, like, hurricane. And Venus is there trying, we got to tame this thing somehow.
But we do. I think Jupiter, our philosophies, our ideas of law, our ideas. It's going to say, look, I have certain needs and we're going to fulfill them.
So Jupiter in Cancer is the way to help, I don't know, ease that.
I wonder if it will be the vocal point, because also it rules Sagittarius. So it rules and we have Mercury and they're happening. And this mystic rectangle, just to bring up, it's a flowing, harmonious activity, a pattern, because the aspects are trines and sextiles, but it all works. And we also have a kite pattern again, which is an opportunity of potential, of soaring with a focal point. So here we have it. Look at this in this full moon with that huge dynamism. We thought the new moon had action, but we're headed. Yes.
This looks like my birth chart. I have a similar set of configurations. But anyway, And I have like stuff like, and a mystic rectangle with the nodes. So same on my chart. And the mystic rectangle, to me, I call it, as you know, the cosmic brick. What beautiful thing do you want to build with all this great energy?
Beautiful. Yes. So it's hard to know where to begin, but I think Pluto, one of it is to recognize that we're in a deep transitional evolution of that internal, as we were saying, external reflection. What the universe, what Uranus is throwing out is maybe a reflection of how we're really feeling, or some secret part of ourselves, because the sun is in Scorpio, that we're refusing to look at. And until we clear it, we're not making space for the new, which is just thrusting ahead, because all these retrogrades are still looking in the past. But that means the closet is full. The tables are piled, and we need to clear them away. In fact, one was, without remembering what, but it was with the idea that the practical is the best. Just make physical space wherever you can.
Pluto at the point of that kite is also It's an Aquarius. When I see Aquarius, I think future and a better civilization. And Pluto's like, let's get intense about that. What should we build for ourselves that works better, right?
Yeah. And network with those people. Find some groups that really operate within. Well, the third quarter, it seems like a quick
It's the sunset
so
part of the phase. It's like the very end of not the very end, but getting there to the end, the crisis in consciousness.
yeah.
So what have we achieved in the past month, right? Let's review it and see what we have and what can we learn from it and what can we teach from it.
And what a appropriate name, crisis in consciousness versus crisis in action,
On the other
because that
side,
one
yeah.
was filled with the Thor's hammer and T squares of action. And this one coming up, which will be on the 12th of November, right in the middle of the month. We've enjoyed our Halloween here in this culture, and we're looking forward to, in the United States anyway, maybe Thanksgiving or holidays if you're working. For some people working, if you're in other industries, there is no holiday because you're helping those that are on holiday. But the light is decreasing, and we're definitely getting prepared that the leaves are probably fallen, and the beautiful visions that we have are on the ground now, and winter is somewhat ahead.
That is true.
Yeah. But the moon is in Leo. It's reflecting the sun. That's a really dynamic relationship, whereas the first quarter was in Aquarius. So in the first quarter, we were listening to what the things, but now we're
It's like the sun saying, I got this. And the moon's like, all right.
just yeah,
It's kind of like a
okay.
powerful sun being, just let me shine, okay?
Oh my gosh, that got me excited here. I went too fast. Okay, where are we? All right, next one. Yes. Well, what's really focused here is Mercury. Mercury is in definite retrograde. And so although it's not an aspect, it is conjunct Mars. So it's speaking, it has to speak, and it will speak one way or the other, whether on paper, verbally, to your friends, publicly, however it is, we're hearing what people think. So we can digest and integrate. But what is Jupiter doing? It's dispositor. Jupiter is in a real tug. It's wanting to be inclusive. It's working with that leader, the sun in Scorpio, that's also working with the moon, saying, how am I going to shine?
Right. Jupiter just wants to shine in this whole thing. It's trying the sun, and it's under the rulership of the moon. But also it's in that looks like a square to, let's see, yes, to Chiron and Eris again. Those two planets dancing together forever.
They're very strong. Inclusion, exclusion are themes with Eris that are just without fail on our minds. And also on a small scale for ourselves, like we were talking about relationships, are those relationships supporting me? Am I including all of myself? Am I rejecting part of myself? Is that part of my healing? What do I need to do? What do I need to release? What do I need to clear in order for me to really participate completely in my life? And it could mean a whole spectrum of things because all the planets are in retrograde. So it is very internal. There may not be a lot of action. I mean, outwardly action, but the way the world comes up in front of us gives us constantly that.
Well, this whole time that Chiron has been going through Aries, my brain has just been chewing on the wounded warrior archetype. And I just wonder if people are just tired of fighting all the time and what that does to people. And I don't know. I'm just looking forward to Chiron hitting Taurus for a change.
Well, it's also identity. And so the wounded warrior is a natal signature of the United States. We had our Chiron return about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it was at 20 degrees. we're still in that, you could say, orb of it. And especially because throughout, that was our revolution, and we have 6 years of revolution that happened. And so we're still experiencing a lot of that identity crisis. And the identity crisis is not just the wound, it's alchemizing how we step into a new identity that heals us. And I think having Eris there is really that ability to deeply now look at what we've been repressing. What have we hidden from ourselves?
Or what and who we've been excluding from the big
Yes.
table? Who do we not allow to the table? It's like, stop it, people. Just everybody's here. They're welcome.
And listening. You're right. To listen to people. In fact,
Eris just wanted to go to the party on Mount Olympus.
That's it. That's it. He asked a simple question. You're right.
Why wasn't I invited?
Well, in fact, I'm part of a speaking group, Wines Country Speakers. We just had a special event on the 4th. If you go to that site, you can see it. It's 10 minutes. We have 8 of us that are talking about how to become a better speaker. It's fascinating. And one of the members shared among the rest of it a video of them talking with, they happen to be a Democrat, but talking to a Republican for an hour and really having an inside conversation between themselves. And I haven't yet listened, but it has rave reviews among the other members. But it's that type of listening, like, well, okay, can we get beyond the cliches here in our conversation to find out what is substance below it that we might have common ground on, or that I can understand?
Public libraries are having things where they hire these speakers from marginalized communities, and they come into the library and anybody can come and talk with them, and they chat about their experiences. So like, you need to learn about like a Muslim American, you go to one of these libraries and you can speak to somebody who's Muslim and they can tell about their experience. And it's
beautiful.
Like a really cool thing to just learn about those that are excluded.
Well, Mercury retrograde, which is conjunct Mars in Sagittarius, now as it's retreating back to Scorpio, which is not yet, because it will be in Scorpio, conjunct the sun and moon for the next new moon. Boy, that's going to be powerful. But right now, this is November 12th, and we're still in that deep, things are emotional. We're working through our emotions as we speak. And it's on a day-to-day basis because those outer planets are now going back to the signs they were in for the last cycle. Like Uranus was talking about our resources in Taurus and our survival. And that's what's going to come up is again and again, like what is important for these resources? What is going to help us survive? What are our talents?
Mm-hmm. What are we trying to build? What is the dream we are building? That Neptune-Saturn combination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we have so much activity. I know, again, it has been said too, that it's so important to keep your spiritual self centered, that really is, and especially with Scorpio, which is a very spiritual sign, it wants to know the psychological why, the depths, as well as what our resources are that we're exchanging. And to keep, instead of flitting off and getting overloaded, to stop and have peace with ourselves, whether it's nature and walking, or whether it's meditating for a few minutes, just having silence, listening to music, to refocus.
I love thinking of Scorpio as a spiritual sign. Typically, people will say, well, that's Pisces. When you think about it, it's Scorpio. Very much
absolutely.
So. Maybe all the water signs.
It looks into the magical of the depth. And I know magical is a word that it gets used really, what we don't understand, that synchronicity, but it's Scorpio is the depth. You think about it, Pluto goes down. This is one of the themes next week with Persephone, who was just in one state of mind, and suddenly she's seen the regeneration between the cycles of life and death. It is that rebirth, that phoenix that rises from the ashen, like Inanna that was pulled down.
It shows up in mythologies all over the world.
Yes.
Right? That rebirth
Because,
process.
yes, we have out in the northern hemisphere or in autumn, even down below, which will be at the opposite time of the year. But for now, where the fields are fallow, they've been harvested, and maybe what's been left is left on the ground to compost. The leaves are composting. They're finding new food to nurture for the new life that'll come in spring. So
which
it's
is
that
the third
process.
quarter moon, which is a
Yes.
description of the third quarter moon. The fall part, the sunset part, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reflecting back on all that we've had to rebirth, to prepare us for, to be thankful for, or yet to maybe perhaps remember, I have other choices. Choice is a big item. What will I choose? How will I rethread my life? Well, John, I'm with John Chinworth, folks. Amanda, as I said, was unable to join us this time. But what's on your sky mind? And do you want to look ahead, or do you want to have some reflection?
Well, I'll stick with my threads theory, where we have so many things that are apart from each other, turn them into threads and weave them into something more beautiful. So a lot of weaving, and to consider the design, consider the things you're making it with, and picture the new product you want to make.
Very important remembering that this started off with a Libra new moon at 28 degrees, which they often say culminates all the empowerment of the sign. And then it's moving into these other fixed modalities. But yes, because what's beautiful to the soul, the eye of the beholder, and it gives us energy, it gives us meaning. We find it's strong. Well, I have a thought that you had brought up, which is, if we have about 4 minutes. So here we have what's happening in the USA. Well, the one on the left is the US is in the middle. The one on the outside, it goes from on the left, the first quarter to the full moon. On the right one is the US in the middle with the full moon to the third quarter. So it's what is working? Well, there's two themes that are working. The one that's happening all throughout is Jupiter at 24 degrees Cancer, which will be going retrograde at 25 degrees. So it's holding steady at 24. It's really slow, is aspecting exactly our natal Mercury, which is also retrograde. We as a nation have a retrograde Mercury at 24 Cancer. So this is everything about what is speaking so important. And it's in our 8th house. So strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful times for the US of A, most definitely.
It is. And our nodes are being activated. Again, as I was saying, with that Venus, it's looking at the whole, piecing it together. Well, I think, John, I appreciate everything you say.
Same.
And I hope,
thank you.
Yeah, the people, everybody there in the world here, have heart. It is where what you think it has value. Find at least some little community that you can express yourself to. Listen to some music, write some poems, or else find a platform and in your heart. Thank you. And I send support. Thank you.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.